me fuel, give me fire, give me that old Chinese desire.
Welcome, race fans, to the final round of the regular season here of the 2021 B JoinAPS Cup Series. My name is Rishav Khosla, joined by Sam Dyer tonight. Ready to get racing here at the RCA Commercial Electronics 200. It's Kansas Speedway. We've got these next-gen cars, this very super speedway-esque package racing around this tricky 1.5-mile oval here, and ready to decide who our 14 drivers are going to be chasing down a championship as we're about to get the chase underway. Sam, thanks so much for joining me here in the booth. Alexander Ned not able to join us tonight, but great to have you back after you filled in for myself last week. And yeah, looking forward to this race tonight, but want to hear your thoughts on of course the championship picture coming into this and what you're expecting out of the racing here tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited for tonight. Thanks for allowing me to come in and sub in for tonight's race. The final race of the regular season. All the pressure is on for these drivers. We got a little nice picture of kind of what we're going to be seeing here tonight from last week at Atlanta. Aero package, very similar to that of Super Speedway Racing. And if anything, the draft is going to be a lot more important here tonight at Kansas. Tire wear is also going to be a factor here tonight, as drivers only going to be having 6 sets of tires in pit road. But I'm excited to see how this race is going to go, Rish, as drivers are taking off. We're getting ready to go green.
Yeah, can't wait here. Just one lap here behind the pace car, so we'll quickly run you guys through the starting grid here at Kansas. Of course, Tyler Fody there on the pole position. He's got to point his way into the chase. Won a race earlier in the season, but because he missed a couple of rounds there because of a suspension, he has to point his way in. He hasn't met the minimum requirement to allow that win to count. Jared Rexing starting alongside him. Rexing already in a pretty solid position regarding the chase picture. In fact, as we continue to go through the grid here, we'll talk about that chase picture just pretty briefly here. We've had 9 different winners this season, though 9 drivers have secured a spot in our chase. We'll touch on who exactly they are in just a moment here because we are going to go green. Tyler Fody leading this field, Tate Lytle lining up alongside him. So actually Jared Rexing looks like got moved back. And we're underway here for the RCA Commercial Electronics 200. Tyler Fody with the early jump. Tate Lytle now fending off the oncoming Trey Holmes and Chad Thornquist.
Yeah, already massively seeing drivers taking off. Tyler Fody with that pole position that he got. That's 1 bonus point to the 40. He now needs 16 points to be inside of the top 25 in points for his win to count, as we're already seeing a little bit of bump drafting, some that of blocking going on. But coming out of turn number 4 for lap number 1, it's Tyler Fody leading a lap. And that's another bonus point that goes to the 40 machine.
Yeah, so 2 bonus points right off the bat, and if he can lead the most laps tonight, that's another bonus that helps him out as well. Of course, even if this 40 car goes to victory lane tonight, that is no guarantee that he makes it into the chase, And let's talk about that chase picture we've got right here. There you see it on the left-hand side of your screens. Tyler Fody minus 17 to the good right now coming into this race. He's just picked up 2 points, so that goes down to minus 15 right now to Gerald Campbell, not taking into consideration their current positions on the racetrack. So keep an eye on this. Another car we're going to watch throughout the night is going to be the 19 here of David Tooker, right now running in the 11th position. He's won a race already this season. However, he sits 23rd overall in points. The only time wins are allow you to be eligible is if you've met the attendance requirement and are also top 25 in points. That's how they do it here in the Elite Racing League. So look out for David Tooker. He's got to make sure that that 19 car stays in the top 25 in points.
Yeah, and he's got to stay out of trouble, and it's going to be very difficult with everyone being bottled up with this aero package. The draft, very prevalent, keeping all the drivers close. It's almost impossible to pull away, as Tate Lytle, a driver that looked like the most dominating car last week, did not get the win. The 56 already up front ahead of Tyler Fody.
Yeah, so 56, Tate Lytle, he's been really the man to beat this season. Believe he's our only, Nick Massey is our only 2-time winner here. Tate Lytle almost became our first 2-time winner last week after his dominant run at Atlanta, but he really has been the guy to beat. If he's not, winning a race, he's finishing second, third. We're talking to him up here in the booth pretty much every single week. So look out for Tate Lytle when it comes down to the championship run. He doesn't have much to worry about tonight, just trying to increase that points cushion. One of the guys who does have to worry a little bit, though, Chad Frankenfield, 35 points to the good, so he should be pretty safe here to make it into the chase. But a lot of things can go wrong here. We've got 37 starters tonight and 37 cars running on the racetrack right now. So something could potentially go wrong, and all those points could quickly disappear on Chad Frankenfield.
Oh, absolutely, and we're already seeing drivers trying to pick and choose where they want to lie, as we're seeing the drivers up front. This whole entire group that we're seeing is 16th up to the lead, and you're seeing the close racing, that of Chad Frankenfield, Colin Fern. Fern has been one of the most aggressive drivers. We saw that last week, and here starting out, the 86 wants to get moving, and also another aggressive driver, that is Scott Crump, the 90 machine, already up to third.
Yeah, Crump moving forward here. Same with Jacob Adams, and you can see just how quickly the momentum shifts around this racetrack. Tate Lytle, who was leading just a couple of laps ago, now dropping down to 8th as everybody's moved up high. Sam, talk to me about why they might be doing that, the line kind of moving up high. We thought maybe we'd get some 2x2 racing here, but this bottom lane right now just not really forming up.
Yeah, here at Kansas, it's in the first 5 to 10 laps where drivers can really pick and choose where they want to go. But with the next-gen car, it's really only the first 5 laps. Also, we're going to be seeing drivers that are going to be 3 wide for second place. Fern to the inside, Frankenfield in the middle, and on the outside, it's Thornquist. But it's going to be Fern making the pass, and here comes Crump as well. But drivers, they are focusing on the draft, and most likely as the run goes on, the outside lane becomes much more prevalent. But right now, everyone's getting what they want, as Chad Frankenfield kind of stuck in the sucker hole. He's got to be careful and not turn into a ping pong ball.
Yeah, Chad Thornquist almost looked like he got turned by Jacob Adams behind him, but Thornquist stays pointing in the right direction and stays in the 3rd position, right where he qualified. Colin Fern shot all the way to the lead. He's now cleared Tyler Fody. Fern up to the point here at Kansas on lap number 9, our 3rd different leader here tonight. So Colin Fern, he's trying to go for it as well. Meanwhile, Chad Thornquist looking to the inside of Tyler Fody here. So Fody now losing some momentum from the top lane. He's got to try and get a good pusher with him or someone to pull him along here in the form of either Jacob Adams or Colin Fern.
Yeah, and when we talk about the draft, the more cars that are in line, that is the lane that's actually going to be moving forward faster, allowing the air to just bounce off of the cars easily. But drivers got to be careful, because this whole entire front group that we're seeing right now, Rish, it's our top 17 that are all together, and they are pulling away from the rest of the pack. We've got a cluster of 3 or 4 packs throughout this track, and we're just seeing the drivers, picking and choosing. You've got some kind of doing a similar super speedway strat of staying back and just trying to save their car for later on.
Yeah, here we see Colin Bowden, Michael Goodman leading this second pack. We're just hanging out. Yeah, like you said, taking that Daytona-Talladega strategy here. Just kind of running the second pack, do your own thing. And we'll see how their races fare. Obviously hoping to avoid the big wreck, because this type of racing typically results in some pretty big crashes. You know, this is true pack racing here with this particular package around this racetrack. A reminder to everybody, this is not a super speedway. This is a 1.5 mile intermediate track here at Kansas. They're 3 wide, though, heading into turn number 1, and they've been running 2x2 all race long.
And that's the power of this next-gen car. It allows these drivers to stay close and close combat with one another. And what's going to be interesting is the run continues to go on. The outside lane is going to be the lane that everyone's going to be running for most of this race until you get clear from side-by-side racing. The drivers that want to get aggressive and try to make some big passes, when we're 20 laps into this run, if we stay green for that long, the inside lane is where we're going to be seeing drivers falling back. We're already kind of seeing that even now of drivers that are stuck on the inside. They go backwards. If you're on the high line and just letting those other drivers make mistakes, you're going forward, as you see that of Tyler Fody trying to make a pass to the lead block Fern on the 25 of Adams.
Yeah, there you see. So, you know, Fern desperately wants to lead this race right now. That's an interesting strategy. You know, obviously, talking to some drivers actually before the race, some of them were saying they don't expect to be taking green flag pit stops, and right now the way they're racing, maybe not, but certainly I'm sure you don't really want to be leading the entire way around here with how powerful the draft is. You'd imagine you kind of want to just tuck in and save some fuel here, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely, and that's why we're kind of seeing drivers that are back around, 10th, 11th, that are just running their own race. I mean, Brent Jones in 12th now. He's just been staying on the outside, letting everyone else kind of make the moves in front of him while he's just stayed on the outside for this whole entire run, been slowly moving forward. As for Brent Jones, he qualified all the way back in 22nd position, and because of him just staying where he is, he's moved up 10 spots, wreck in the back.
Ooh, big wreck back. Further in the pack, it's going to be the 3 car of Scott Haney to the inside. We see him running on the racetrack. Let's take a look at the replay. What happened here? Scott Haney alongside the 46 car. 46. Right there. That's an interesting crash there. Who's in that 46 as well? Charlie Brown by the looks of that. Yep.
Yeah, Charlie Brown. I mean, both drivers immediately over the radio saying, hey, sorry. I think both for that, I mean, looking at Haney, probably was expecting to have a little bit more room and thought he was going to be clear, but was not fully clear to move in front of the 46. And, it's going to be those small little mistakes. Luckily, it happened with just 2 drivers that are away from most of the rest of the field. But, Rish, we know that could have been an incident that could have happened up front and taken out a lot more of other drivers.
Yeah, because we've got an interesting situation. As we showed you guys the track map earlier on, and we can even put it back up here as well. This is a D-shaped oval here, so it's an interesting shape, but we don't have what we typically run at super speedways, which is called that yellow line rule, where you're not allowed to really go down onto the apron to make moves. Here at Kansas, because the banking isn't as steep as everybody comes down to pit road, actually, not everybody, a couple of guys staying out. Josh Clark, actually, the lone driver to stay out, he's grabbing that lap-led bonus point. I know that for a fact because he's in that chase hunt. But you can see here, drivers have been using that apron. It's free to use here. So potentially drivers, we've seen how easy it can be for, someone to expect another guy to go down onto the apron, to think, hey, I gave him all this space to the inside. He had the apron to use. And someone saying, no, I didn't feel like using the apron. That can cause a lot of confusion up in that, up in the tri-oval. So, big question mark there. Expect a lot more incidents to kind of come from that area, I think. Very similar crash to that. That's not going to be uncommon tonight, I think.
And we saw most of the field come in. You noted on the fact that Clark stayed out trying to just lead a lap for himself. Also, it looks like Corey Abbott in the 21, another driver that has decided to stay out, going through their pit box and not actually taking service. Going to be Dallas Myhan, Trey Holmes, as well as Kendall Noah Player. Those 3 drivers, they've got to make the decision if they want to come back into pit road and just fall all the way to the back because, like you said, there's 37, 36 drivers on track. There's a lot of time and ground that you have to try to work through, and we've already seen it's pretty difficult to make a lot of big moves to go fast forward.
Yes, it is. The question here, does Josh Clark now come down pit road? He does. That's a smart move there. Grabs his bonus point, and now comes down to grab some service on that number 28 car. So does, like you see there, Corey Abbott, Dallas Myhan, Trey Holmes, Kendall Noah Player. So they all make that call to come down. That now cycles Tyler Fody to the lead of this race. Colin Fern, then Jacob Adams, Scott Crump, and David Tooker make up your top 5.
And also let the audience know these drivers did have a total of 6 tire sets in pit road. So everyone now has used the full set. So they've got 5 here to work with for the rest of this race, which seems to be plenty of time for these drivers to get their service done, move forward, and understand, hey, if we got a lot more cautions that come out, let's take that set. I mean, just in about 15 laps, when that caution came out, drivers were almost a full second to almost 1.2 seconds off of their best lap time, showing there is a lot of tire wear even early in this run.
Yes, there certainly is. And with these guys still running single file, we're going to see if we can recalculate the points as they stand right now. A reminder that Tyler Fode, despite leading the race here, will not be automatically locked in with that.
Yeah, as we're getting the points calculated. Again, our top 5 currently where they run: Tyler Fode, Colin Fern, Jacob Adams, Scott Crump, David Tooker, driver that we noted on. That is your top 5. The 19 looking to have a solid day, and if anything, just looking to make sure he finishes inside the top 15 to top 10 is the window for the 19 of David Tooker, because if he falls back, loses 10 points to the drivers behind him, there's a chance that the 19, even with his win that he got 2 weeks ago at Bristol, will be null and void and would not even matter, and he would miss out on the playoffs. So important for that of the 19 of David Tooker to finish up front here tonight, as the points are getting set and ready, and as well, the drivers get stacked up and ready to get going.
Yeah, so here we go. This is what our points currently look like. So Frankenfield right now looking pretty solid. Same with Andrew Rucker. Tyler Fode actually still sits 17 behind. Actually, oops, as we need, it's actually not been fully updated there as I'm just taking a look here real quick. Let's take a look and see why that's happening.
And we're trying new technology here tonight. It's going to have a little bit of a hiccups here, but we're going to get this figured out by the end of the night. Just excited. End of the regular season. So many drivers putting on a great show here tonight. And big thanks to all of our sponsors that have helped us throughout the season. Again, Tyler Fode, Colin Fern, going to be your front 2 as we're getting ready to go green.
Yes, we are there. We'll see if we can get that points situation fixed for our next caution when things settle down again. But we are getting back to green flag racing. Tyler Fode once again with an early jump, and that leaves Colin Fern to fend off Scott Crump and Jacob Adams here. Crump on the top side, looking high. He's got the support from Alec Balvans in that number 5 car behind him. Balvans having a good run right now. He did come down pit road, pit with everybody else. Just had a good stop there, but needs to kind of settle in line. Colin Bowden now moving forward in that number 24 car. I believe he got sent to the rear of the field for not having the correct banner there, so that's going to be something to look out for him. He's obviously shown great performance in the past in the Elite Cup Series, looking to try and grab a win today.
Yeah, a note for that about it, and plenty of others were actually sent all the way to the back early on. There were also a lot of talks as Fern, got to be careful. Fern and also Chad Frankenfield, they have been close to one another at the starts of these runs. 86 of the 15. They got to hope that they can calm down, because we've already noted on Chad Frankenfield, yes, he looks good, but a very poor finishes in last place here tonight. The 15 could have a chance to not make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield really just needs to, just finish this race, get a top 15 result. Doesn't need to be that aggressive here, and he'll be good to go in the chase. But right now, he's running aggressive. Chad Frankenfield, I think, still wants to win this race right now, and that could either work out great for him or it could be an absolute detriment to his title hopes.
Hey, that's the thing about drivers out here. Sometimes they don't have a crew chief or a spotter in their ear telling them the big picture. All that's on their mind is to win at all times. You want to be up front and get moving. Also want to finish off on that, Colin Bowden conversation we were having. He got sent to the back. Same did that of Brandon Key, Jared Rexine, Matthew Weeks, Corey Abbott, and Josh Robin. All those drivers started this race all the way in the back of the field, and slowly they've been moving their way forward.
Yes, they have been, as we've got a pass here coming for the lead, potentially from Jacob Adams. No assistance, though, but Tyler Fode now loses his assistance from Chad Frankenfield, and there we go, 3 wide into turn number 1, but Jacob Adams does get some help from Scott Crump. We're now 3 wide for second. Crump Fody and Frankenfield squeezing each other off of turn number 2. Do a great job not to come together, especially with netcode.
Ooh.
We know how easily that can mess things up. And there you go. Fody gets pushed, and now it's Fern in the sandwich between Frankenfield and Crump. And now Frankenfield has to kind of fall back here. Crump gets moved forward. Bowden kind of slots in position. And there we go. Everyone's kind of spread out now once again here down the front straightaway.
Well, you say that for a quick second, but David Westergreen getting pretty close in that pink 12. Got to be careful, Valvance, as well as others. Once you're down below on the inside, side drafting with one another, getting on that driver's quarter panel, it actually slows both drivers down. And when they fall back, there is still, these drivers are up in the top 10. There's still 20 other drivers behind them that are trying to take those positions, and it can bottleneck, cause some confusion. And up front, they're racing hard. Colin Bowden wants to get back up in that lead position, and he's been doing a great job starting all the way back. Now up a total of 23 positions from where he qualified and trying to make that pass for second.
Yeah, Colin Bowden absolutely on a tear right now. Loving the feeling of this draft. He's been getting all of these right moves here, getting the right pushes, and Bowden now up into second. A clear second, trying to find his way past Tyler Fody in this 40 car. Fody trying to grab these the point for the most laps led tonight. So far he's been doing that, but desperately does not want to give up this position to Colin Bowden.
Yeah, and those bonus points, that of Fody has already gotten 2 of the possible 3 bonus points. He got the pole position. That's 1 point. Led a lap, that's 1. And if you lead the most, that is another 1 point. So for Tyler Fody, he's trying to get the 3 maximum of bonus points and then also try to win this race to maximize the points that he could be gaining. And then at that point, he's just waiting on the drivers behind him that he's trying to pass to have off days here tonight.
Yeah, this is all you can do if you're Tyler Fody. You're just hanging on here, leading this race, lead as many laps as you can, dominate this race, and that's all he can possibly do tonight, and hope that everything else sorts itself out behind him. Meanwhile, 3 wide still for second place here. Bowden, Fern, and Adams. Now Fern, clears, and you've got Adams, Bowden, and Frankenfield. Now Frankenfield, Crump, and Bowden. So there you go. That 3 wide battle continues to shift. These guys getting huge runs. You get someone within half a car length of you, and it seems to just accelerate you, 2 or 3 miles an hour here down the straightaways.
Yeah, it certainly does. And these drivers are maximizing their speed right now, trying to get going. But Adams is getting so slow, and no, contact on the inside. Crump involved as well.
Crump and Adams both involved. Both of them, fortunately for their cases, are locked in here. Yellow flag is out on the racetrack. We saw it there live. We'll go back and grab this replay here of this incident here. Jacob Adams goes up, gets a little bit of a bump from Colin Bowden, and then he's a passenger from then on. Spins in front of Scott Crump. I think Crump honestly got away with not too much damage. I think the same can be said here for Jacob Adams. Some slight damage there to the side, but honestly, that could have been significantly worse. I think not a lot of like actual contact there between the two drivers as they kind of slowed down together.
Yeah, if anything, though, got to be concerned for that of Crump because he got the front end damage. That's going to be forcing the 90 machine to not be able to really be a lead car anymore. It's going to put him more in a follow suit and try to push someone else to a victory here. But, man, one of those things where drivers now are going to have to reset and make a decision here. We've been on these sets of tires for about 13 laps, and we've got 5 sets in pit road. We'll see if anyone wants to be making a fake move, but it looks like everyone into pit road once again.
Yeah, wow, you can see just how effective the tires, I think, are, and these drivers believe they are. Just 30 laps into this run, guys going for their 3rd set of tires for tonight. Out of, what was it, a total of 6 sets here? So,
yeah, they had 6 sets in pit road, a total of 7 they were given with the one that they started the race off. So, the drivers, they had a lot of, you had a lot of room to kind of pick and choose when you wanted to use a set of tires here, and that's why we're seeing it. Whenever caution comes out, come in, use that set. Hey, you just got to worry. You got to make sure you got at least 1 extra set with 20 to go. Until then, use all the sets that you can.
All right, the cars are coming off pit road, and we'll take a quick pit stop here. Grab a break, grab a drink of water up here in the booth, and be back with you guys before the green flag.
name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the Elite Racing League for the Old Testament Firearms Truck Series, the last race of the regular season. And drivers have all come into pit road to get service done, except for our top 9. That's going to be Alec Balvance, Alexander Van Sant, Michael Goodman, Dustin Dorr, Josh Robin, Trey Holmes, as well as Joshua Clark, Dallas Myhand, and Corey Abbott. Those 9 drivers did not come into pit road. So our former leader, that of Tyler Fody, going to be all the way back in 10th place as we get ready on this restart.
Yeah, and Fody right now in the absolute danger zone, right? You know, you're slightly worried about being back here. There's guys you haven't really raced with, guys you haven't pushed with up in front of the pack right now. So you've got to be a little bit nervous. Tyler Fody has to be up front in this race. He has to really, again, put on a dominant performance tonight to try and get himself into the point situation, especially with the likes of David Tooker right behind him. The guy that Fody's really racing, I think, is going to be this car right here, the 28 of Joshua Clark. That's one to look out for. Those two were very close in points as well. So a lot to be worried about here, but the restart's going to be the most interesting for sure. Alec Balvance will lead the field to green with Alexander Van Sant on the front row, but Michael Goodman, Dustin Dewar, Josh Robin here, Dallas Myhand, none of these guys have really been involved at the front of one of these restarts before, so we'll see how it all plays out with these guys leading this pack back to green.
Yeah, sometimes you got to throw, got to try something crazy if you want to get yourself up front, because if you're up front, caution comes out, hey, maybe the whole entire field comes in as well. Rish, we noted on, this is the last race of the regular season. 10 drivers are already locked, well, 9 are officially locked in. One of those 10, that being David Tooker, he's in a question mark of if he can get enough points to move on. We'll touch more on those 10 drivers, but man, gotta say, this is getting intense with about 101 laps to go.
Yes, it certainly is, and Alec Balvance goes early. He's going to lead this field back to green, and the battle's going to be between Alexander Van Sant and Michael Goodman here for second position, but Goodman slots in a line behind Van Sant, and now Dustin Dewar, Goodman's teammate, running alongside him for the third position here. These two having a great run for Do Good Motorsports, and Trey Holmes then running in the 5th spot. You can see this top line, everyone trying to organize, trying to find a way past these guys. Want to look out for Tyler Fody up into the 9th spot already, but looking to the outside here of Dallas Myhand needs to make sure that he's got the space to go up high. Meanwhile, Alec Balvance, Alexander Van Sant, the Alex battle up front here.
And they're wrecking behind. And it's going to be Scott Crump, and it looks also like
Charlie Brown
as well.
Here we go. Scott Crump comes down. Ooh, actually, no, it was Scott Haney, I think, who went up. And the incident happened here before these two actually ended up crashing.
It was the 9, it looked like, of Rusty Campbell. That was the initial driver that got loose, and that was the catalyst for all the other incidences that piled on afterwards.
Yeah, great catch there. We'll see what happens. So here we go. Watch this 9 car of Rusty Capel. I think he just gets loose here in dirty air. Comes down in front of Scott Haney. Haney has to check up. Those two get going, and there that entire crash happens behind them. Scott Crump in his second crash of the day. Charlie Brown in his second crash of the day as well. Both of them, I think, honestly, just bystanders in that one, kind of having to react Both of them able to get rolling again, though, so no significant damage to those cars. But, I mean, you talked about that last incident potentially stopping Crump from being a leading car. This one definitely did.
Yeah, and, also we saw the 3 of Haney, after making the bump with Campbell, got very aggressive on pushing the 3 to the high line, and the innocent victim was the 18 of Joshua Personette, heavily damaged and in pit road, trying to get service for the 18 currently. As take a look up front, looks like no one decided to come into pit road except for the drivers that were involved in that last incident, so no surprise to see that at all. But biggest surprise for me right now for that Rish, our winner, our only 2-time winner, Nick Massey, looks like internet issues still hurting the 48 machine, as he is only back in 36th position, a lap down.
Yeah, definitely not great there. And there you can see just that blinks again coming for that 48 car, just barely able to make it through. So we're going to actually have to swap off of that before it messes up our cameras there. Yeah, Nick Massey just still struggling. He's got to get that sorted out here before we get to the chase. Got to figure something out because he's got a fast car. He's been a fast driver all season long. Like you said, the only 2-time race winner here this season. But if he can't get those internet issues sorted out, he's not going to be able to make it to the end of these races.
Yeah, now, talking about how he is already locked in, we'll talk about the other drivers as we've got time now. Drivers that are already locked in and don't really have to worry about how tonight goes. That is going to be Tate Lytle, Chris Wright, Alexander Van de Sant, Chuck Sweeting, Johnny Thomas, Nick Massey, Scott Crump, Matthew Weeks, and Jacob Adams. Those are the 9 drivers that are officially feeling comfortable, and they are locked into the playoffs. For Weeks and Adams, both of them, based off of points, are locked in. David Tucker is in the playoffs. That's if he stays inside of the top 25 in points. So there's 4 spots still open. Who will take them here tonight? Hey, we'll find out as we got less than 100 laps to go, and we continue to look and see where drivers are points-wise right around that bubble line. And those drivers we're looking out for: Chad Frankenfield, Andrew Rucker, Brandon Key, Gerald Campbell. Those are the 4 drivers that are inside of our top 4 coming into tonight, as well as Zach Evans, Joshua Clark, Tyler Fody, Harrison Talon. Those are the 4 drivers we're keeping our eyes out if they can point their way in. Biggest unknown is for that of Ethan Burrell, if he can even get points-wise in. And Tyler Fody, he needs to have a good points day, as it's still Alex Valvance up front and doing his best to try to get a win here tonight for the 5.
Yeah, and there's what the points currently look like in their particular position. So regarding Ethan Burrell, he's actually not here tonight on the racetrack as far as I can see. I mean, I think he needs some pretty special circumstances to somehow find his way into the top 14. Harrison Talon right now sits 32 out. Zach Evans, of course, not racing tonight. He sits 28 points out. But the real battle we're looking at there, as you can see, Josh Clark, Brandon Key, Gerald Campbell, Tyler Fody, all separated by 4 points between the cut line here. Key and Campbell actually tied there on the cut line. Josh Clark right now sits inside, as he's the highest placed of the bubble drivers in 7th. But remember, a lot can still change here because we have this group of cars that haven't come down pit road. Chad Frankenfield remains in a relatively safe spot here again versus everybody else. Andrew Rucker down the order right now, but still plus 13 to the good. So he's got, he's in a pretty solid situation, but obviously can't finish too far down here because he is still in danger of going, out of this race.
Yeah, and honestly, for that of Chad Frankenfield, all he needs is to have 2 drivers DNF before the 15 does, and he'll be just pointing his way in. Doesn't matter how poor of a night he has. It is looking good for Chad Frankenfield. But for the drivers that are up front, Balvance and others, they're still looking to get, there's what I would say about 8 or 9 drivers that are in a win, but also need a good points day on top of that to make it in. Those are the real narrow drivers, and that of Michael Goodman's in that circle, as well as Alec Balvance needing to have great points day and make sure they're inside the top 25 in points.
Yeah, I mean, if Alex able to walk away with the win here, he's just 2 points outside of 25th, so a win here points-wise should also get him up into the top 25 in points. So this could be huge for this 5 car. Obviously, way too early to tell any kind of result here, but Alec Balvance looking racy tonight as he leads the field back to the green flag for the second time tonight. And the race is on again for third position here. Trey Holmes around the outside of Dustin Dewar, trying to get that top lane put together. He's got Josh Robin behind him. And then Joshua Clark. Chad Frankenfield, the first of the guys who've come down the pit road twice. Actually, Tyler Fody now slides by the 15 car. There you see on the inside, down the straightaway, you can see just that pace that those guys are carrying there on the bottom. These tires do seem to make quite a bit of a difference. Ooh.
Oh, no. Fody, a little bit of contact going to be made. They were 3 wide, 3 rows deep, almost 4 rows deep. A little bit of contact. This is really turning into a mixture of, could be a concoction of madness that could happen up front. Again, we got drivers that are on 15-lap older tires than others. Leading the fresh tires is Tyler Fody, who's now up to second. But Rich, this is getting dangerous for a lot of the drivers that are up front as Tyler Fody, Chad Frankenfield working together. They're now taking the lead position.
Yeah, and you can see, I mean, the way that those guys are moving forward, surely if you're anybody else in this pack of guys who stayed out, you've got to be thinking, you know, if there is a late race caution, I have got to come down and get tires. And that could exactly be the thought process right here, is save those tires for the end. Maybe there are enough cautions where everybody else here is running through their tires, burning through those tires like there's no tomorrow. And when it comes to the end, the guys like Alec Balvance, Alexander Van de Sant, Josh Robin, Dustin Dewar, they might have that extra set of tires that can make the difference, because look at this, Tyler Fody and Chad Frankenfield are checking out when it comes to the guys who have not come down pit road. The lead guy, from that first group, Trey Holmes right now running in 5th position, almost a second back, or excuse me, 0.6 of a second back from our leaders. Our pole sitter on this particular restart, Alec Balvance, dropped down all the way down to 10th position now.
Yeah, we're seeing everyone that was on those older tires falling back. Balvance, one of those drivers, but it's certainly a lot of drivers getting concerned, especially those that are around top 15. I mean, you can just see it. They're all clustered up side by side. Drivers trying to make moves and contact going to be made, as that was the DoorDash machine that got into that of Balvance. So got to be careful with each other when you're running this close with one another. And that was actually Harrison Talon in the 23 that made the contact initially. But over the radio, drivers are sounding impatient and they want to move forward. But you're seeing it with these next-gen cars. It is very difficult to make moves forward unless you're working as a group.
Yeah, it certainly is. And here for Alec Balvance, this is kind of his worst-case scenario, is this long run, or the potential of a long run here. This car is dropping like an absolute stone here. Now sits 2 seconds behind our leaders, Chad Frankenfield and Tyler Fody, who are going too wide for this lead. Tyler Fody with teammate David Westergreen right behind him. Westergreen potentially in a shot with a shot to make it into the chase. But I know, speaking to him, he also has an interest in helping out his teammate here, Tyler Fody, to make it in as well. So obviously for those two Lake Norman Motorsports Chevrolets, they'd love to see both of those cars into the chase at the end of tonight. But I think they're definitely trying to push Tyler Fody to the lead here, as they're 3 wide for second.
Yeah, they're 3 wide, and it's going to be that of David Tooker, Chad Frankenfield, and also David Westergreen following behind and just waiting, kind of similar to what he did last week. It's Johnny Thomas, who's in 3rd, 4th, side-by-side for that 3rd position. And also Brody Moore in the 13, a driver that had a very unfortunate race last week at Atlanta. The 13 up to 6th position.
Yeah, I mean, will we talk about tonight being kind of like a super speedway race? Look no further than Johnny Thomas, your Daytona 500 winner from this season. He's looking to try and he's showing off that super speedway package skills. David Westergreen, who's won in the truck series here at super speedways, he knows how to get the job done on these types of tracks. You can see right now this is opening up the doors for a lot of guys who have shown great success. I mean, you look at this top 5, top 6 drivers, top 7 drivers. All of these guys have shown great success in the past at super speedways. Tyler Fody has won a number of Daytona races. Chad Frankenfield, a former 500 winner. David Tooker has looked strong before. Jared Rexing has also been a great super speedway racer. All of these guys right now showing off that same kind of skill set that you need at Daytona and Talladega here at Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, Rich, if anything, this is giving me flashbacks of watching truck official races at super speedways where it's the top 8 side by side, everyone else just in line following them, hoping that they don't get caught up into any type of danger. And it's Harrison Talon in the 23, who's been aggressive at moments, patient at other times, and has now moved up. And on the high side is the 23. But hey, these moves, they can only last for so long until someone causes the big one.
Yeah, that 23, I mean, the most recent real-life Super Speedway car, winning car was in fact the 23 there of Bubba Wallace. I don't think it was the DoorDash scheme, but man, oh man, if Harrison Talon can bring that 23 up to the lead here, that'd be huge for him and his season so far. He's shown a lot of promise as well throughout the season. Right now looking strong as well, running on this top lane with Johnny Thomas, pushing Tyler Fody, Chad Frankenfield along. Fody looks high on Frankenfield, but isn't quite able to find that gap.
Yeah, and really looking at this field currently, still side by side, trying to pick and choose where they want to go. The outside lane is going to be where the drivers, the longer this run goes on, want to be. But early in these runs, they can get aggressive on the bottom and make this lane work, but you need help. You need at least 4 drivers in line, or at least have one car that is on your bumper throughout the whole entire lap to get you going, and that's exactly what David Tooker's hoping from David Westergreen, but Westergreen's given a little bit of space. He saw a bobble from the 23. Talon's got to be careful as that 23 continues to even wiggle down the straightaway.
Yeah, Talon right now stuck still between 2 cars through turns 3 and 4. Has to just stay in line right now. Be a little bit wary of Colin Bowden potentially coming down. Be wary of, as Talon slides right up, or Bowden slides down there into the middle lane. You can see just how aggressive guys are getting with blocking. It really is just like a super speedway race, but we've got guys not really lined up row to row. It's just kind of sliding back and forth in terms of position. It really is pretty crazy the way this race is playing out. It's such a unique way of racing here. I think the banking just isn't enough to keep these guys all packed together, but certainly the way the downforce is, I think, on these cars is keeping all of these guys reliant on one another to stay in one big pack as Jared Rexing becomes the new leader here with this lap.
Rexing just put on the boldest move that last lap into turn 3, forced it 3 wide underneath Chad Frankenfield and made the pass, and that actually lost a lot of speed to the 15th. Chad Frankenfield went from battling for 2nd to 4th, and now you see the 10 trying that wall side, getting as close to the wall as possible to get these massive runs out of the corner. Got to be careful, though. That is a double-sided sword where you can really get yourself hurt if you get into that outside wall.
Yeah, you absolutely can. It's so easy to suddenly get sucked into that wall and grab damage, and that can completely ruin your night, tighten up the car a little bit too much. But great racing right now, and that top lane is just rolling slightly better, it seems. Tyler Fody, though, also just trying to find some help here because right now he is the lone car on this bottom lane, at least in this top group, as Rexing looks like he might have scraped the wall there, and he loses a ton of momentum. It looks like Johnny Thomas and David Westergreen are now coming on the inside of Rexing.
Well, we see 3 wide, why not 4 wide, as it's going to be the lap car, the 3 of Haney staying low, goes on the apron. Great call by the 3 machine to get out of the way, but it made the drivers up front nervous as Westergreen almost putting Rexing into the wall.
Yeah, and here we go now. Johnny Thomas to the lead. Now Rexing to the lead. Now Bowden looking inside for the lead of this race. It's been shifting all over the place these past couple laps. Colin Bowden slides up in front of the 10 car. The question is, does he have the momentum off the corner? Rexing looks to the bottom. Bowden with the late block, but it's not enough here. Rexing looking inside on Colin Bowden into turn number 1. Jared Rexing not willing to give up this lead too quickly here, but Bowden might have the help that Rexing so dearly wishes he had. He's going to slide up in front of this 24 car, though. It might be too little too late because the run looks like it's with Bowden.
Yeah, and right now Bowden, he's been willing to go down and aggressive, but the issue is for the 24, he has no other drivers following him. He's got to make this slide job move work, and he does so. Going to be moving in front of the 10, but here comes the run. Most likely is, Westergreen into Harrison Talon.
Westergreen hits the wall. The caution is out, causes this next crash here. Who else was involved in that? Looks like Josh Clark had to go off track to avoid that. Gerald Campbell as well was involved in that. Here we go. Let's watch again. This 12 car, David Westergreen, just goes a little bit too high. Has to slide up there. And then you also see, I think, who was that? That was Brody Moore?
Yeah, Brody Moore getting into Matthew Weeks. And Brody Moore, hard contact for the 13 that was right up front. And he did his best to try to avoid that carnage. Also, Dallas Myhan went through the grass to avoid any type of damage. And man, that is madness for most folk, and for Dallas, you see them just cutting through. He saw the incident happening coming at turn number 4, and you thought, you know what, I'm just going to go through the grass. It might be the safest route besides trying to hope for the best when you're on course.
He just dives straight for the grass. He doesn't we don't have to worry about the splitters going in these ones. I love that from Dallas Mayan there. It just was like, nah, I'm not dealing with whatever's going on there in the tri-oval, and there you go. That saves the 41 car. Hopefully no damage to the splitter, but I don't believe iRacing has much damage to the splitters these days. So there you go. David Westergreen, unfortunately for that 12 car, out, and there go his chances to make the chase. Meanwhile, Brandon Key stays out on pit road as the rest of the field comes down.
Yeah, Brandon Key going to be leading a lap here, and Key needing every point. And the last time we looked at the points was actually tied with that of the 31 of Campbell. So, for the 99 of Brandon Key, haven't really touched on the 99 that much this race, nor have we really touched on Gerald Campbell, who was moving up into the top 15. He decided and actually asked to get an EOL at the start of the race to fall back, and was kind of hoping to stay away from all the chaos and the carnage up front. So drivers picking and choosing what points they really need, and every bonus point is necessary if you want to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, Michael Goodman here running. Okay, he's now diving over to the apron. I was going to say he has not he's pitted just once so far in this race, but there you go. I think now finally making that call to come down pit road as well. No, Brandon Key staying out in general here. I thought he would stay out, grab that lap, and then head back down pit road, but Brandon Key making the call to just stay out on the racetrack. Big call here from the 99 here, one of our bubble drivers.
Yeah, listening in as sounding like race control, trying to give a little bit of knowledge on as there was a little bit of confusion between Brandon Key and another driver. I guess there was contact underneath that last yellow, and race control trying to give clarification to all the drivers that Brandon Key was just trying to avoid carnage, did not mean to run into other drivers. So drivers trying to get clarification, luckily did so, and now everyone's getting ready up front. Right now, currently, it's Brandon Key, Jared Rexing, Chad Frankenfield, Colin Bowden, as well as David Tooker going to be your top 5, with that of Tyler Fody, Johnny Thomas, Trey Holmes, that of Chad Thornquist, and Alexander Van de Sant finishing out your top 10, as well as we've had a total of 4 drivers that have officially DNF'd from tonight's race. That being Nick Massey, Chuck Sweeting, Scott Crump, as well as Michael Hossack, who's going to be the 24. That is also is going to be our 4th driver to DNF here tonight. So only about 30 drivers that are on track. About 3 or 4 of them still on pit road trying to get repairs done. But Rich, I mean, with the amount of drivers that are out and the fact that Chad Frankfield's still racing, the 15, he is now officially locked in with the amount of points that he has.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield now should feel relatively safe. He can kind of go for it, I think, if he wants to be a little bit more aggressive tonight, grab maybe some chase points if he wants to try and go for the win. And knowing Chad, I think that's exactly what he's going to try and do here. So now the guys really to watch out for, Rucker, Key, Campbell, Fody, Clark, I think are going to be the big cars to watch out for. We saw Evans didn't show up. Burrell's not here. Talon is now out of this race, so it's really 2 cars out of this group here of, what is that, 5 will not make it into the chase. The other 3 will. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Key obviously sits quite a bit higher up on the cut line just because he's leading the way right now. But we'll keep an eye on that and how that continues to progress. Remember, Key on older tires, and we've seen just how that fares for some of these drivers.
Yeah, and looking at where the drivers are right now, I got to say the pressure is certainly on. Make sure that these guys can finish out this race cleanly. But I mean, we're getting closer and closer halfway, Rich. We know after halfway, it is going to be a lot of drivers making even more aggressive moves on top of one another. So I would not be surprised if we find ourselves in overtime at the end of the night.
It would not be shocking, and if we did have overtime, it would look a little something like this. Heading towards the green flag here. Brandon Key leads the way. Jared Rexing fending off the rest of the pack. It's now Colin Bowden and Chad Frankenfield running side by side for that 3rd spot. Frankenfield we expect to be clear of the chase and clear and locked into the chase here, so he can go and race for it. Meanwhile, Brandon Key is about to experience what Alec Balvan's experienced on that last restart, and he's about to drop like crazy. You can see here just the pace differential of these guys on fresh tires versus the 99. He's got nothing for these guys up front.
No, and that's the difference of 28 laps of older tires compared to new tires, and you just see the major difference of speed. But up front, it's Rexing, Chad Frankenfield, Bowden, Tucker, Fody, your top 5 as they're coming out of turn number 2. Rexing's got to be careful. This 10 might feel like blocking, but at the same time, a big picture. Do you want to get yourself wrecked or go for a win here?
Yeah, that's something you've really got to think about. It's so tricky, right? And that's why I think they tried to put super speedway and these types of races, to end the regular season. It really makes things. It changes things up. But yeah, Rexing's one of those drivers who's a win-and-in driver. He's not going to make it on points. He has to go for it. He's got nothing to lose here tonight. So you've kind of got to think about how you want to tackle this race, because obviously you want to be here at the end, but also you don't want to put yourself in a situation where if there's a wreck further back, you don't want to be involved in that. The best way to not be involved in a wreck is to be ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've seen drivers who are willing to get defensive and race here. The question is, how aggressive do the drivers behind Rexing want to be? Recognizing, hey, from here on out, drivers most likely are only going to have to do one more pit stop if we stay green. So you don't want to put yourself into any danger here, recognizing, hey, got to make sure we still got all 4 tires, and also we don't have any damage at all on our cars. Is that also having 0 X's could be a potential shot for these drivers to get a bonus point as well on top of all the other bonus points that are out there. So right now, looking at Gerald Rexing holding off that Afringafield Fody, Tucker Holmes, but Rish, we're only seeing side-by-side racing for the drivers that are back around 6th place.
I was going to say, we're in a uniquely single file situation. Even that quickly disperses there. They're kind of adjusting here and there in terms of the lines they're choosing, but yeah, this is interesting the way this run is playing out right now. Guys, a lot more cautious, it almost feels here, versus the aggression we've seen in past runs.
Yeah, I know you weren't able to make the call and commentating for last week, but you were running productions, Rich, so big thanks on that front. But when you were watching last week compared to what we're seeing right now, I mean, it looks like mile and a half racing. It has now become super speedway racing with this next gen.
It really has. I mean, just it's absolutely crazy. Anything greater than I want to say a mile and a half, because we were at Michigan, we were at Auto Club earlier this season, and the way those tracks raced, it really was just straight up super speedway racing, just on a slightly flatter track. It's true even here. I think you get the banking high enough on these 1.5 mile tracks, and it really is pretty crazy. And of course, you think about the reconfigured Atlanta plus this next gen car, and just think about the kind of racing that's going to then produce. We were running last week on the old version of Atlanta, the current version here. I'm so curious to see how that racetrack is gonna turn out.
Oh, absolutely. That track is going to be so fast with its extra banking and also how narrow it is. That is going to be really a test to fates for drivers and a test to their fear level. About how much trusting are you in your skills for the next Atlanta, on what Atlanta is turning into. But for these drivers here tonight, we're at Kansas, final race of the regular season. We get to see the 14 drivers that get to move on and race for a chance for a championship. As right now, getting to see these drivers all bouncing back and forth on top of one another, and it's going to be that of Rexing up front, Fody, and that of Josh Robin. Robin, one of the drivers on the beginning parts of this race, wanted and got in the well. The 8 machine now pushing forward for a shot for second.
Yeah, Josh Robin coming on really strong here. Another one of those really strong super speedway racers showing up here at a track like Kansas, just looking so strong in that 8 car. Moves up into second, clears Tyler Fody, and is now chasing down Jared Rexing.
And as the drivers up front continue to race on side by side, you see Robin going to be ducking it to the high line, trying to get a little bit more help, maybe someone to draft with him, but looking like no one's really trying to give that asset. As Rish, we always note on super speedway racing, it's always about finding a friend, a teammate to work with. Also going to find allies, but up front, seems like the 86 of Fern. Screw it, we don't need teammates. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, Colin Fern very happy to work with himself, and again, not one too much of a stranger to potentially making enemies on the racetrack. Colin Fern is out here to win races. He's not here to make friends, and he always shows that when he hits the track. But he drives so aggressively and so well. Colin Fern moving towards the front here, but yeah, like you said, not a ton of friends with him, but certainly getting the right pushes to make it up here and just running with the right amount of pace.
And we also saw a driver getting off of the apron. That was the 23 of Harrison Talon, who has just come off of 9 minutes of repair time for the 23. Back out on track, 13 laps down. And at this point, just trying to finish out this race and see how many points he can gain for himself.
We're watching the two-wide battle here. Just wanted to move a couple of cars back, actually, and show you guys Matthew Weeks in this 11 car. Interesting story here with the 11 car. If he finishes 17 spots higher than teammate Tate Lytle, he could grab the regular season championship. It is actually that close between the Pro Edge Racing teammates. Tate Lytle currently sitting in 19th, so I think something pretty bad would have to happen to Tate Lytle, or Weeks would have to put that 11 car in victory lane here, but 17 points is not totally unreasonable. Matthew Weeks still very much in contention for that regular season championship, but racing it out with a teammate, that's going to be interesting for sure, as we've got some crazy stuff going on up front. Jared Rexing has been passed by a bunch of cars. Colin Fern slots on by, and Chad Frankenfield and Josh Robin fight it out for the lead.
These three-wide moves, I mean, you see the drivers, they get these massive runs on the outside, and they'll just send it to the bottom in turn number 3, trying to make a pass. But you see there, Colin Fern, he moved up to 3rd, now falling back because of that move and losing ground, while Chad Frankenfield, he's finally made the middle part of this racetrack work for himself, and Bowden now going to be forced into contact. Oh, no!
Wow, huge hit. The 19 car of David Tooker's involved. The 15 of Chad Frankenfield, we talked about him potentially not, making it into this race. He's got a huge hit there. Wow.
Also saw Tate Lytle slightly bumped later on after the incident, and you knew it was coming at some point with how aggressive the drivers and moves that were being made. And just in a blink of an eye, the big one strikes up front.
Wow, a huge hit there for Chad Frankenfield. We'll watch as, that's already as the incidents occurred. So we'll go back to when this yellow flag happened here with Chad Frankenfield. In fact, even that grabs it a little bit too late here. So let's see if we can find a better picture with this. And it was just Frankenfield and Bowden going at it. And let's take a look here. Frankenfield in that 15 car. Colin Bowden looking to the inside, gets there. Just there you see that turn there. So Frankenfield, Robin, Johnny Thomas involved in that. David Tooker there. The 5 car of Alec Balvans grabbed some damage as well here. Tate Lytle, I think, almost lost it. He might have saved it a little bit later there, but so many cars involved in that incident.
Yeah, contact was made, and we're hearing from race control, no end of the line penalty going to be given to the 24 of Bowden, as the 24 was deemed that there was a little bit of netcode involved. So interesting call to be seen. Very close racing. Yes, there was, a little bit of netcode, but at the same time, there was no space given on the entry of that corner.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that call by race control, but I know they've been extra lenient this year, so I think Colin Bowden just got away with something on that one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you knew it was going to happen at some point where drivers up front were going to be getting real close with one another. You're pinching. You're not trying to give any space. Also, for Colin Fern, he got that close to the quarter panel. That's what you do for side drafting. You get to the quarter panel, it loosens up and also flares up the wind on the driver that you're next to and causes that driver that you're trying to get by to slow down. And at the same time, there's always that lingering thought, will netcode hit? And for there, race control deemed it. Netcode was the reason for that wreck, so no penalty to Colin Bowden. So it takes out the leader and gets to keep the lead position.
Yeah, Colin Bowden now moves up to that lead. Yeah, so there you go. So with that, we'll as these guys catch back up to the pace car, we'll step away for a brief minute. Quick word from our premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues, and be back with you guys in just a few.
My name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
All right, back to it. We should be getting back to 1 to green here in just a moment. But before we do that, I just want to give a brief shout out here to Blue Egg Marketing, another one of our premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues. Blue Egg Marketing is your biggest fan. If you're a small business, they're the marketing department for all small business owners. Whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity, and Blue Egg Marketing will help you figure out whatever you need to do to market to punch above your weight class. If you're interested, check out Blue Egg Marketing, a proud sponsor of Tyler Fode in that 40 car who's fighting to grab his 2nd win of the season and try and race his way into the chase. We've got 1 to green here. Lights are out on the pace car. It's going to be Colin Bowden, Tyler Fode on the front row. Colin Bowden, potentially just getting away there with that big hit on Chad Frankenfield on that big crash that just took out Frankenfield and Robin, as well as big damage to the 19 of David Tooker, who's trying to point his way into the chase. That could have some huge implications at the end of this one. We'll keep an eye out on the results. But before we get back to green, you can see here Chad Frankenfield, despite that big damage, just fine. I think he should be officially locked into the chase despite being in last. The battle then is with Campbell, Fode, Key, and Clark. We'll keep an eye on that as the race continues on.
Pace cars off, and we are green once again here as the laps continue to tick away. From this point on, drivers are going to be thinking about fuel. If this race stays green, where do I want to place myself? Colin Bowden going to be up front with Rexine to the inside, and Fode on the outside going to be trying to find some speed, but we just pitted for 4 tires. That means the inside lane, very viable at this moment, is, ooh, Dusty Dewar. Got to be careful making those types of moves.
Yeah, Dusty Dewar there, though, sliding up to 2nd place on Colin Bowden as Bowden gets a touch there from Colin Fern. Tyler Fode has to get out of the gas to avoid any kind of incident there. Both of them saved their cars, though. I mean, you've got 2 of the most aggressive drivers in the field right there, Bowden and Fern, right next to each other. Surely there were going to be fireworks, and there were.
Yeah, just throw Scott Crump in the mix, and that would be 3 of the most aggressive drivers on top of one another. But up front, top 3, there's Slice and Dyson trying to do a little bit of snaking on one another. It's everyone else that's 4th on back trying to decide where they want to place themselves. Jacob Adams, haven't talked about the 25 that much here recently. In those first 20 laps, it was all about where Adams was going to place himself. Now he is back up in the top 5.
Yeah, Jacob Adams, one of those guys who's been locked in, hasn't actually gotten too many top 3s. We haven't got a chance to talk to him much, but he's been Mr. Consistency this season, just grabbing top 5 after top 5. After top 10, I mean, he's waiting for that very first win to come in that number 25 car, and it's going to come in pretty soon, I think, based on the performances we've been seeing from Adams.
Absolutely, especially with where the drivers lie currently. That 25 going to be trying to make some moves forward. He's going to be trying to figure out where to get by the Reese's Cups machine, that of Trey Holmes, and here comes the 25 to the inside, but just you're seeing how the drivers can do little defensive moves, just cut off by a little bit of there as Colin Fern, a little bit too high for the 86 liking. He falls back.
Yeah, now Tyler Fode moving to the inside of the 25. Looks like he's going to get that move complete there as he kind of tries to follow Trey Holmes here. He's got Chad Thornquist up in front as well. Kind of got this little bit of a breakaway here over the rest of the pack. You've got the rest of these guys kind of behind Dallas Myhan and Brandon Key here. But yeah, Jared Rexing, Dustin Dewar, Trey Holmes, talk about a top 3 there. All 3 of those guys trying to win their way into this chase with a big opportunity here to do so. Tyler Fode as well trying to grab the points from the race win to try and find his way into the chase. Jacob Adams, the first of these drivers to actually be inside the chase already. Everybody else pretty much inside the top 10 hasn't quite locked themselves in. Van de Sant, I think the only other driver inside the top 10 other than Jacob Adams to be locked into this chase. Talk about that for a top 10 here at Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, why not put out your best race here late and hope that you roll the dice and they lie for you in a victory to make it into the playoffs. As Thornquist going to be going to the inside. Looking at the field, I mean, Rich, it's crazy to say this, but we started out with 36 drivers. We're down to 22 that are on the lead lap, and out of the 22, there's 3 that are really underpowered and going to be at risk of going a lap down if this run continues to stay green. But we know the aggression level is ramping up. Drivers are going to want to be moving forward to set up for a victory here. And that's why we're seeing everyone bobbing and weaving up front. Drivers that we haven't seen trying the snaking maneuver, which is really more well known to be seen when you're racing at super speedways or at Indianapolis.
Yeah, this is getting pretty crazy here, the way this race is playing out. The aggression, I think, has kind of stepped up again, really, between this group of guys. You've got so many drivers here who have got a legitimate shot at winning this race, a legitimate shot at making the chase there, as you see David Tooker getting back out on track, trying to grab as many points as he can. That's another potential spot that could have just opened up for the chase if he's now been knocked out of the top 25 in points. We've got to take a look at that a little bit deeper in our points standings, and that one we might not really know until the official results have been released, because there's so many other factors to take into consideration there.
Oh, absolutely. And, you keep on looking at the number of drivers that are up here. We noted on the two that are already locked in, that of Alexander Van Asant. And, the 97, haven't talked about him at all this race. And now into the top 10, moving slowly forward. And now going to be trying to make that third lane work is Colin Fern. I think for Fern, like I noted on before, he's trying to just do it himself, trying to get every single momentum, to trying to gain as many spots. But now that he's kind of back here lingering in 6th place, stuck side by side, you don't want to stay there for very long. If drivers stay side by side, you could be actually both lanes slowing down and going backwards.
Absolutely there, and you see he now slots into position behind Alec Balvans. Going to potentially duck out to see if he can make a move, but no, decides better of it, just stays in line there for right now. Meanwhile, up front, Dusty Dewar still hanging on to the tail of Jared Rexing. How about this drive from this number 32 car of Dustin Dewar, doing a fantastic job here again. A Trucks Series winner at Daytona, knows how to get the job done. Oh, it's Tyler Fody! Saves it! What a save there from Tyler Fody as he almost gets turned by Colin Fern.
Oh, gets absolutely ran over by Fody, dazzling us once again. The 40 machine just showing the wheelmanship on his part, and Colin Fern and Tyler Fody both on the radio immediately just at each other as we take a look at this replay. I mean, it deserves it. Rish, what a save.
Fern to the inside. That's a late move from Colin Fern there, I think, to dive down to the inside. You could see he was on the top side and comes back down, and then just great job by Tyler Fody to save that. Man, back to the racing. Fern now in front of Fody, and I'm sure you just said they were on the radio, probably not very happy in the 40 camp. I'm sure he might be willing to return the favor here, potentially, if Fern gives him that opportunity to do so.
And for Fern, he's got to be concerned about that front bumper. That was a pretty hard lick to the back of the 40 machine. He's got to be concerned for later on in this race, but currently still running pretty quick is Colin Fern in the 86 on the outside as they're trying to catch up to Brandon Key in the 99 in 6th place. As this group, this is now your second pack. The front pack is your top 5. And surprise, surprise, Dallas Myhan, the driver that drove through the grass to avoid one of our first couple of incidences, he's now trying to battle and get up to 4th place.
Yeah, Dallas Myhan has kind of been the secret dark horse of the season. No pun intended, considering he's run that black paint scheme all season long here. But no, just been incredible. Dallas Myhan, huge consistency from that 41 car, and he's shown incredible pace on occasion, and tonight has been one of those occasions. Dallas Myhan really looks like, he's on the verge of a breakthrough here in this Cup Series. He's starting to enter that top echelon of drivers that could potentially win on any given race week. Dallas Myhan, what a great season he's had so far, and what a great way it would be to potentially cap it off in the regular season by grabbing a win, maybe putting his name down for a chase appearance. He's still got some work to do, some laps to run here, but they're winding down, in this 41 car looking great right now, up 14 spots from his starting position.
Yeah, for that of Dallas Myhan, he needs to come in, get a win, make sure he's inside the top 25 in points. That is the goal of the 24. That's the goal for the 10, the goal for the 32. A lot of the drivers that are up front, it's just to get a win at this point for a lot of these drivers. And as well, you could throw in other drivers that are in the top 10. They're trying to get some good runs. Michael Goodman, a driver that needs a win to get into the next round. But you noted on it, trying to also, for a lot of these drivers that are up front, they've got teammates that they're trying to help with one another to potentially make it into the playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many considerations here for drivers. And again, this has been probably the longest green flag run we've had here, as we're approaching almost 25 laps. As crazy as that is to say, we've just ticked over, I think, 20 laps done on this particular run. maybe a little bit less than that. But yeah, guys starting to feel now the tires wearing down just a little bit more on this run. Starting to feel how the car adjusts over the course of a fuel run as the fuel level goes down, how the balance shifts. We're looking at a completely different race right now to what we've seen earlier on tonight. We might see different guys coming up towards the front of this racetrack as well. Right now, again, you look, Jared Rexing, Dustin Dewar kind of on their own in front. I'm sure these two would love to see this race stay green all the way to the end. It means all of those guys further back in that second pack don't have enough time to really catch them.
Yeah, and also if you could bring up the points for a quick second, I know this is still kind of old information of when we went into the restart, but you look at the drivers that are in the green. If one of the drivers that are up front wins here tonight, that are outside looking in, they could push Tyler Fode or Gerald Campbell out of that spot for making it into the playoffs.
Absolutely. No, it's going to be so tricky here. Again, the David Tooker situation adds some intrigue to this. Of course, the Tyler Fode situation adds some interest. And, of course, any one of these guys coming in and winning tonight add some interest to this playoff bubble. It could be completely different to what we've been alluding to tonight in terms of a points battle, and it could just straight up be in terms of, who actually makes it and is eligible to make the chase, because you've got to meet all of those requirements. Top 25 in points, have to, potentially win a race if you're top 25 but not top 14. There's so many other things that need to be, ticked off here to end up making a championship run. Things could look very different by the end of the night.
Well, you see our top 5, they've been staying smooth and calm. Well, if you want to see the chaos, we drop back to 6th. They are side by side once again, as it is just a madhouse of drivers trying to pick and choose where they want to lie, because they have almost caused at least 3 different wrecks, and now really putting his nose forward in the middle of this chaos, it's Gerald Campbell, who's finally starting to make his move forward.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell, remember, he was involved a little bit earlier. Matthew Weeks hard into the outside wall. Keeps it rolling, though. And there's no yellow flag.
No, I mean, yes, there was hard contact. It was Alec Balvance as well as Weeks making contact when they were 3 wide. And because he was not completely 45 degrees sideways, no yellow is going to be thrown. We stay green. Here we take a replay of what happened to the 11. And once again, Matthew Weeks caught up with issues.
Yeah, hits Kendall Noah player there and just kind of keeps rolling in the right direction. How about that there? Weeks, though, has to come down pit road there. Probably significant damage to that 11 car. That's going to dash his title hopes for walking away with the regular season championship. Though, remember, he's locked in on points, so he'll still race for the championship at the end of the season. But yeah, no bonus points there for Matthew Weeks.
And now up front, drivers trying to decide where they want to go. And, seeing where the guys and where they're racing now, you can see Colin Fern, how all the aggressive moves, enforcing it 3 wide, all of those big moves, that's a lot more tire wear that you add on to what these drivers have been running, on top of also the nose damage. Colin Fern falling backwards, got to be careful for himself. As also, we're going to be moving up to our leaders, because the battle for second and almost the lead, it's Chad Thornquist trying to get aggressive while they're trying to get by lap traffic.
Yeah, Chad Thornquist, I think, using that 46 car perfectly as a pick there to hold up Dustin Dewar, get maybe a bit of a side draft on Dustin Dewar. But it isn't quite over yet, because Dewar hanging on the top side, and we talked about the top side being the lane that you want to be on as the run goes on. Here we go, Dewar right now ahead. 92 gets loose, though, coming off of turn number 2, keeps it moving, and now Dallas Myhan looking to the inside to get past Chad Thornquist.
Yeah, Thornquist in the entry in the center of turns 1 and 2, touched the apron just enough, sent him up. Same thing just happened to the 41. They're trying to get as low as possible, but they're touching the white paint, which is the indication of the transition from the race surface to the apron. And right now, the drivers on older tires touching too much of the white paint, getting onto the apron too much, and it's just launching them up a lane or 2 more than they want to. And it's almost caused calamity there of our front 5.
Yeah, almost huge implications there for those guys that they've been racing just so hard. Right now, though, Dustin Dewar hangs on to that second position as Chad Thornquist starts looking to that high lane, trying to see if he can find some advantage there. But with everybody scattered around right now, it's going to be hard to make some moves. Thornquist, though, again, looks like he's super racy, trying to get by Dustin Dewar. He's going to look once again to the top side on this 32 car, see if he can make a move.
More drivers have officially parked it here tonight. Johnny Thomas, as well as Joshua Personette and Brody Moore, all have parked it for the night. Got to be questioning if any other drivers are going to be done, as we're coming up to 30 laps to go for driver shots to see who's going to be racing for championship in the playoffs. 14 spots. We already know about 10, 11 positions that are gained and grabbed already for the playoffs. 3 more positions are open to be grabbed, points-wise, win-wise, or just crazy situational-wise.
Absolutely. Let me talk to you about something, though, a story from 2 seasons ago, the 2020 B season. We came to WWT Raceway for the regular season finale, and Jared Rexing here in this 10 car was in a must-win situation. Do you know what he went out and did that night? He went out and won that race, and that right now is what we're seeing from this 10 car. He's putting on a great performance right now, and he could be coming in clutch for the second time in a year. Jared Rexing right now trying to find his way into the chase. He hasn't had the luck that he's needed, but we've seen that huge amount of speed from him all season long. The man who won the Clash at the beginning of the season at iRacing Super Speedway, he showed so much promise. We thought he was surefire going to be a threat for the championship. Just didn't find the luck, but as things stand right now, Jared Rexing would be racing his way into the chase at the buzzer. Still a long way to go, but this 10 car certainly knows how to come in at clutch moments. But Chad Thornquist, now free of that 32, is going to try and see if he can be the one to take up that extra spot in the chase.
In that clutch factor, only a handful of drivers really have that. That is something that you're kind of born with, that clutch factor. You just naturally know where to place yourself, how to be in those positions to make sure that you move on. And there's other drivers that are in this field that we've seen that. I mean, Tyler Fode's been clutch at times. We've seen Gerald Campbell, who's now up into the top 10, be clutch at moments. But here late in the regular season, who knows what the 10's going to bring, as well as, we got Dallas Myhan, who's starting to make a surge forward, and on that last lap was actually one of the fastest, was only about 100th off of the fastest lap that last go around. So watch out for this 41 late in the race as we continue on. But also, fuel-wise, I think the driver is going to be pretty close on fuel coming to the end of this race. I don't think anyone was expecting us to stay green on that last pit stop.
Yeah, I don't have a fuel number personally. I don't know if you do either, Sam, but yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at stint length here. Drivers have been out on the racetrack here 33 laps with 26 to go in the race, so trying to make it about 60 laps here on fuel. Can that be done around a track like Kansas here, where they're probably more or less flat out the entire way around?
I think that's why we're starting to see drivers get a little bit aggressive here, understanding, hey, we can try to make these moves now. When we come to 20 laps to go and we still haven't seen anyone coming to pit road, I think that's going to be a true sign that drivers feel comfortable that they can make it to the end. Haven't seen anyone come into pit road unless they were heavily damaged so far. So drivers currently right now all looking like they are good to continue on and race to the end here tonight.
If that's the case, then we've got a fantastic battle here. The top 3 drivers all looking to race their way into the chase. Meanwhile, 4th place Alexander Vandesant looking for his 2nd win of the season, putting on a great performance here at the Oval here at Kansas. He's been showing some great promise as well in his first Cup Series. Dustin Dewar as well looking to race his way in. Meanwhile, Tyler Fode leads the 2nd pack, but they're a whole 3.5 seconds behind the leaders. They've been losing time as they've been squabbling amongst themselves here for position. Again, if we stay green, as Trey Holmes taps the wall there off of turn 2, if we stay green, there's no chance for Fode, Campbell, Lytle, any of these guys to really fight for a win here unless they all come together and start organizing, trying to push forward to catch this lead group.
Yeah, and now we're seeing, we're seeing the drivers get aggressive back there and starting to get side by side. This lead group, they've stayed in line and been giving each other plenty of space with one another, so they're able to run faster laps than the guys behind, and they've been consistently doing it each and every lap. That's why the gap has grown to over now 4 seconds from our leader back to 6th place. It is incredible to see the difference on the pace as we see these drivers. It's that of Tyler Fode, Gerald Campbell, Tate Lytle, as well as Jacob Adams. This is 6th back to 9th place, and gotta be careful because with how aggressive that this pack has been racing around one another, we could be seeing our next caution come from this group.
Absolutely, yeah. No, there's no doubt about that. These guys racing so hard, and then you even go back a little bit further, and we've got this next pack of cars. We've got multiple little packs here. I think this third pack here a little bit more calm generally here, led by Josh Clark. It's really, I think, this second group that we've got to watch out for when you've got guys like Tyler Fode, Gerald Campbell, Tate Lytle, all who are looking to try and make some moves, especially if you're looking at Fode and Campbell. Though up front, of course, could see things get very aggressive between people like Van de Sant, Myhan, Thernquist, Rexing, all guys who need to find their way into the chase, except for Van de Sant there. Same with Dustin Dewar. This first group, you could see some desperate moves potentially coming as we're 21 laps to go, heading to 20 to go.
Yeah, of all the drivers you just noted on, drivers that needed to have good days here today, Andrew Rucker, I got to say, at 64, currently running back in 9th place. It's getting a lot more reckless of the drivers further back here. But I got to say, for that of Andrew Rucker, what a quiet night he's had. But at the same time, he's been moving forward ever so slightly. Same goes to that of Brandon Key. We're seeing a lot of the drivers that are right around that bubble spot, right on top of one another. You got Fode, Campbell, Rucker, and Brandon Key. These are all drivers trying to see who of these four drivers will be taking those 3 final spots in the playoffs.
Yeah, this could get very interesting very quickly because you've got all of them right next to each other on the racetrack, and they're all separated by just a couple of positions. We just saw a huge crash in the back of the pack. Was that Harrison Talon? It is. Crashed on the front straightaway. He was a couple of laps down as well. Must have come together with some other driver here. We'll take a look and see what on earth happened.
It's Colin Fern and Harrison Talon making contact. That's a bizarre wreck to see, because they're in the middle of the racing line. It's not like they were bickering about who was going to be on the apron. They were already past that spot. That just seems hard racing, but at the same time, unnecessary hard racing between a driver that's 14 laps down and a driver that's on the lead lap.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's so interesting. But there you go. That's the caution that the likes of Rexing, Thernquist, Van de Sant, Myhan, Dewar, they did not want to see that. For Tyler Fode, Gerald Campbell, Brandon Key, all of that. That's a lifesaver for those drivers.
Yeah, and now they're going to be coming into pit road. We're expecting everyone to come in. If you haven't gotten your bonus point yet and you're further back on the lead lap, we've only got 19 drivers on the lead lap. But if you haven't gotten your, one bonus point, why not stay out? If you're further back, get that bonus point. But for everyone up front, it is all about this pit stop. And I've seen a couple of times on these pit stops, drivers overshooting, going past their pit box, having to back up, losing time. And that could be anywhere from 2 to 3 positions that you're losing if you make a mistake. Cannot do it here late. This could be the money stop here tonight.
It definitely feels like it, doesn't it? 17 to go. Even if we do get some more cautions, do you want to even go for it? Do you want to come down pit road, give up that track position? Will there be enough time to kind of recover here? So that's the real question. This could be, for many of these drivers, the final stop of the night, and I think we might even see some two-tire stops for some drivers. Rexing just beats Van de Sant off of pit road. Does he? Maybe not. Yes,
did.
Rexing
yeah,
does.
He did. He's now taking it, but man,
that was close.
Rexing, you could tell he wheel spun it and was like, nope, not giving anyone any shots at this, as he came up, almost forcing Van de Sant off the racing surface. That could have been given an EOL to the 10 machine. As well, want to give note, Colin Fern has officially parked it for the evening after making the contact and being wrecked out, being next to the 23 of Harrison Talon. We'll see if Talon, it looks like he's still being able to race, going to be trying to gain as many positions as possible here. But up front, it's Jared Rexing, Alexander Van de Sant, Dallas Myhan, Dustin Dewar, Chad Thernquist, Gerald Campbell, Tate Lytle, Andrew Rucker, Jacob Adams, and Michael Goodman. Your top 10 all racing here tonight, as it is the last race of the regular season. 14 drivers after tonight will be set up and ready to race in the playoffs. And for the playoffs, the round of 14, the first 3 races, we're going to be going to Sonoma Raceway for the historic Cup Surface runs for 63 laps, then going to Richmond and finishing out the round of 14 at Talladega Super Speedway Racing. All the drivers getting themselves situated, excited for how tonight's going to go. But they're stacking up, getting to go, Rish, points here they are.
Here they are, but an interesting thing to note, though, Jared Rexing completely messes up this line, so basically move that that black line, move it up a spot, and that would be what it looks like if Jared Rexing wins this race here. That would knock Brandon Key out of this, and that makes the cut line just 3 points between Key and Campbell here. Frankenfield now becomes dangerously close to that cut line as well if Jared Rexing comes to win this race. So we'll take a look. Andrew Rucker looking relatively safe here. Tyler Fody has some work to do as well, though, if he's going to try and make it into this chase, running down to the 14th position right now.
Yeah, we're looking at where the positions are and all the bonus points that have been grabbed. I think Chad Frankenfield should still be good, even with Rexing and where he lies. And if Gerald Campbell moves up to second, I believe Chad Frankenfield should not be a driver that gets bumped out. But for sure, drivers that are fighting against one another, Gerald Campbell, Key, Clark, Fody. I mean, think about Fody's race. He has done everything in his power. At one moment here tonight, was in the green to move on to the next round, but a lot of shuffling, a lot of big wrecks have happened, and now it's smushed everyone back together. And drivers that we haven't really talked about all night, they are having a shot at the playoffs.
They absolutely are, and that's just going to make the final 15-lap run to the end of this race, to the end of this regular season, so interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like. Are we going to go green all the way to the end? Are we going to, see some more cautions? But before we do that, want to make a big shout out here to our race sponsor for tonight for the first time in the Cup Series, RCA Commercial Electronics. They provide innovative quality products designed to meet the unique needs of the lodging, healthcare, education, and other commercial markets. If you've had any of those old electronic devices, I know I had a number of RCA devices back in the day, and yeah, great to see them coming on board here to support the Elite Racing Leagues, another great sponsor here that we've got. But 14 laps to go and they cross the line. Jared Rexing leads the field back to the green flag. He's going for his first win of the season, trying to get his way into the chase. Alexander Van Asant now is going to fend off the rest of the pack. Look out for Dustin Dewar, Dallas Myhan, Chad Thornquist, all looking to grab their first wins of the season to try and win their way into this chase as well.
Yeah, we're looking at the points of where they were during that during the pacing laps. A factor we never touched on is the fact that David Tooker's back in 24th, still on track, but that we're going to be seeing the 19. How many points, and will he have enough points for his win to count for himself? But up front, they're 2, 3 wide, and you can see on the top side in silver and gray, it's that of Gerald Campbell, now up to 6.
Yeah, they were momentarily looked like almost 4 wide there heading through the tri-oval. And Gerald Campbell looking around the outside now of Andrew Rucker, trying to see if he can get the right momentum. Meanwhile, Jared Rexing dives down low to try and break the draft from Alexander Van Asant. Again, Rexing so desperately wants to win tonight. Myhan and Thornquist also going side by side, both of them trying to find the forward momentum to move past Van Asant to try and win this race. Meanwhile, we saw just a little bit further back Tate Lytle fending off a huge group of cars. We got them 4 wide here heading into turn number 1. Ooh,
Oh boy.
Dewar hangs
somehow
on.
Hold on.
Wow, that looked like he was about to go around in that 32 car for Dustin Dewar. Look at the aggressive racing here. You guys know the time is now to move forward in this race. Chad Thornquist looking to the middle there as Dallas Myhan goes to the bottom. A aggressive block. And look there from Jacob Adams. It's all chaos here down the front straightaway.
They're fanning out. They're 3, almost 4 wide at times, and it's all Jared Rexing up front. Alexander Van Asant kind of being the blocker, trying to defend all 3 lanes by himself. Then it's side by side for that of 3rd and 4th place. But Van Asant, will the 97 try to make the pass on the 10 of Rexing, or just follow suit as the laps continue to tick away? 10 laps to go, Rish.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Final 10 laps of the regular season here, potentially 3 wide heading into the corner. Tyler Fody working his way up. He restarted in the 14th position. Tyler Fody driving with aggression here tonight. Still on the bottom 3 wide, trying to get by Chad Thornquist, trying to get by Dallas Myhan, but right now they're all stalling each other out. Fody's got to get that forward momentum. Slow car on the bottom as they go by. He's getting past Chad Thornquist here, but Thornquist squeezing him to the bottom. Fody has a long way to go if he wants to try and get his way into the chase, especially if it's Jared Rexing leading the way for Tyler Fody. The best possible situation right now could be Alexander Vanessant winning this race, because that's not a driver now passing that 40 car. Or heck, even Jacob Adams, I think grabbing his first win would work out for the 40 car. Meanwhile, though, here they go. The look from Colin Bowden. He goes down below the white line as I think he made contact with the 40 car. It's all happening out on the racetrack.
Thornquist recognizing, hey, I just got to get out of this. It is getting way too hectic. They were 4 wide at one moment. There was contact between the 24 and the 40, but they're now going to be side by side. And the difference between this racing and early on, not a lot of movement, but right in the back, it's going to be Joshua Clark into the wall.
Oh, and that's huge for the chase bubble for Joshua Clark. He was trying to get in on points. Looks like some pretty heavy damage to that 28 car. We'll take a look and see what happened, but that should put us just before green-white checker situations. That will not count as our initial one. He goes up, Dustin Dewar is there, and around goes that 28 car. Those two come together heading into turn number 1.
Yeah, I mean, right there, it was a lot of Joshua Clark just trying to fit in a hole that wasn't there, trying to get by and get around the 5 of Val Vance was in front of the 28, tried to move up, and there just was not any space for Clark. Gets spun around, and man, you could just tell he was feeling that intensity as we were up in the booth, that it was go time. But just, again, just a tiny bit of patience in these moments can help for the long run, and instead, wrecking is the 20, heavily damaged, and got to be banking on other drivers having mistakes moving forward.
Yeah, and now here comes the question, right? 10 laps on these tires. Do you come down pit road? Do you give up your track position? Or do you stay out here and rely on these old tires? Here we go. What do drivers decide to do? It's everyone staying out. No, it's not. We got some takers for pit road.
Oh, it would have worked out great for Tate Lytle, Banana Bowden, and others, but the field faked in, and it's only going to be just 3 drivers that were up in the top 10 coming in. It's all the drivers from 12th on back that are going to be following suit, but you knew the top 5 weren't going to make the decision. Tate Lytle, that wasn't 6th, comes into pit road, and now we get to see how these drivers want to attack and test and hold on, as it's going to be our top 11 that decide to stay out on older tires. Only 10 lap older tires, about 6 or 7 laps of green flag racing, but we've already seen drivers with fresh rubber can really get moving. The question is, will there be enough time to utilize that fresh rubber to move forward and potentially win today's race? Hey, if you're up front, you're not coming in at any point. Even if we go into overtime, you've got to stay out on these older tires.
Absolutely, and with Josh Clark dropping down the order here, we'll have to see what the overall result, how this affects him, but he was already on the outside looking in, and that certainly isn't going to help his case here tonight. We'll take a look as we update the points once again, and we'll show you guys all what that looks like here. And there you see, so again, Rucker Frankenfield we assume, I think, to be pretty much well clear of the chaos. The real battle is Brandon Key, Gerald Campbell, Tyler Fody. And remember, that line moves up a spot here with Jared Rexing right now winning his way in if the positions stay as they are. So Key makes it in by 1 point over Campbell and Fody. The separation there is not significant between Brandon Key and Gerald Campbell if Jared Rexing wins. So one position can change between those two. Tyler Fody right now really is going to need a bit of a miracle to find his way in. 13 points below the cut line. Gerald Campbell, Brandon Key are both going to have some rough couple of laps here for Tyler Fody, I think, to make this chase.
Yeah, Tyler Fody right now needs to see Key and Campbell both just wreck at this point and go a couple of laps down. Fody right now, currently, I mean, he's running in 4th, but that is just not, it doesn't really matter when the drivers you're trying to beat are right on your back bumper.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of being gained here.
The other potential for Tyler Fody, and the only other shot he has, is if Alexander Vanessant or Jacob Adams win the race outside of himself. because that means Jared Rexing does not move up that spot. That means Key and Campbell make it through, and David Tooker then, it's all reliant on whether or not David Tooker makes the top 25. If David Tooker is not in the top 25 in points, then Tyler Fode will advance into the chase by the hair on his chin. But it'll come down to that. So right now for Tyler Fode, if he's not winning this race, he wants to make sure he's pushing either Van de Sant or Jacob Adams to the race. He does not want Jared Rexing to win this one.
No, not at all. And looking at the points and where drivers lie currently as the top 25 and where drivers are, David Tooker came in 23rd in points. He needed to make sure that he was inside of the top 25. Alec Balvance, also, a couple of other drivers were trying to have very good days here today, but they've kind of had falterings here. Alec Balvance, though, is in 9th place, so there is a chance for David Tooker to be bounced out of the top 25 and make his win null. But the drivers are stacked up. It looks like it's going to be 3 laps to go when we go green, Rich. Hey, would you like it any other way?
I would not. What a way to end this regular season. And just looking at where Alec Balvans and Brent Jones are restarting here, if they stay relatively close to those positions, I think they will do enough here to bump David Tooker out of the top 25. So much to play for here, so much drama here regarding the chase, so many question marks. I think we're still going to be a little bit confused until the official results come in at the end of this race. But right now we're just going to enjoy the on-track action. 3 laps to go. Jared Rexing waits a little bit longer than normal and now hits the gas pedal. 3 laps to go in the regular season, 3 laps to go in the RCA Commercial Electronics 200 here at Kansas. The field begins to spread out. Jared Rexing with that extra gap from that jump on the restart. Jacob Adams now leads the charge to chase down that 10 car.
Yeah, and right now, we're going to be seeing drivers side by side for second place. It's going to be Myhan, going to be forcing it 3 wide, going into turn number 3, the 41 in the middle, but he's getting no draft help. It's going to be Campbell on the inside, trying to work with the 25 of Adams. And for the drivers that came into pit road and got fresh tires, watch out for the 24 about it.
Yeah, for Campbell and Key as well, they definitely don't want to see Rexing win either, because that limits their particular chances of making it in here. So, you've got 3 of these guys inside the top 10, all who do not want this 10 car to win this race. Basically, everybody, is extremely against this 10 car winning this race, I think, here. Jacob Adams, especially here, he wants to grab that first win of the season, and there he goes trying to go after it. Meanwhile, here are the bubble drivers as Dallas Myhan gets turned and saves it.
Straight. We're getting the white flag.
The white flag is out. It's all going to finish here on this lap. There's no green-white checker tonight. Jared Rexing leads the field into turn number 1 and 2. Jacob Adams, a car length and a half behind. Can he close that gap? Gerald Campbell needs to absolutely push this 25 down this back straightaway, but no, he's busy fighting with Brandon Key. Are they crashing behind them? They are. Colin Bowden goes around. Tyler Fode goes around. His chase hopes might be dashed there tonight. Jared Rexing leads off of turn number 4. Across the line, Rexing wins his way into the chase at the RCA Commercial Electronics 200. What a drive. What a race there by this 10 car.
Might be enough for the 10 to get in, and because Brandon Key is in 4th and that of Gerald Rexing's in 3rd, that's just enough for Key to be ahead of that of Campbell.
Oh, Key and Campbell come together there off of that last corner. It could potentially be between those two. If David Tooker, we can take a look here. David Tooker, we knew, was 10 points up on that on the 25th place. He finishes 23rd here. Where is Alec Balvance? He's in 5th. Ooh, I don't think David Tooker finished in the top 25 here. Where's Brent Jones? 7th. David Tooker, I think, could be out of this top 25 here. We're going to need this confirmation from race control as soon as possible. But for Jared Rexing, it's celebration time. What a drive. What an incredible job here. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. When you talk about drivers who come in clutch, look no further than this 10 car. Jared Rexing, when you need the win, when the season is on the line, he will get the job done, and he does it for the second time in 2 seasons here. Jared Rexing, what a drive by this 10 car. He's ready to now race for a championship.
Yeah, I mean, for Rexing, right, he came in 25th in points. All he needed to do was really win, and he was in, and he did exactly what was needed. But like we said, got to bring up the calculators on how everyone else lies. But wow, what a race. And also, feuds now going to be on top of one another as Bowden and Fode once again collected with one another.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sure those things are going to carry over into the rest of this season. But look at that. Jared Rexing wins the race by 0.2 of a second over Jacob Adams, Gerald Campbell. It'll be great to talk to those guys. And I'm sure until we get the official word, it'll be interesting to hear from Gerald Campbell whether or not he believes he's made it into the chase. I'm going to shoot a message here to our race officials to make sure we get results as soon as possible.
Yeah, I believe also race control. There's a lot of this finishing order is going to be very unofficial because of all the contact and the bumping that was going on. Race control is still figuring out where drivers officially are going to be lined. So this is where iRacing told us what's going to be for the end of this race. But it could be drivers could be getting EOLs, penalties here at the end. So you never know what's going to lie here as drivers still having bickering thoughts on how this race ended, but congratulations to Rexing.
Yeah, it's been incredible here for Jared Rexing. I want to see if we can grab our race winner in here before we grab anybody else, though. I guess we'll go here in ascending order. Actually, if we can grab Rexing here, that'd be great because we know he's in the chase. I want to wait to talk to Gerald Campbell a little bit later to see if he's actually made the chase based off of the calculations. So let's actually bring in our race winner here. Jared, I mentioned 2 seasons ago, I don't know if you remember WWT Raceway in 2020B, and when it was all on the line, you came in clutch to win that race. It felt like the exact same situation here tonight, and what a drive, what a job well done, man. Race winner, and of course, racing your way into the chase. Talk us through the night and the feelings that and the emotions that you have right now.
Was that win at Gateway the last race of the regular season too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I've done it once. I could do it again, huh? That was crazy. Just the way this draft package is, really, if you get that push from the car behind, probably 2 car lengths, in front of them. So it's a lot easier to block. And, I was running the bottom the whole race, taking the shortest way around. And I think that was the best thing to do. It got really loose on the old tires, and just keeping it low seemed to keep the car a little tighter for me. But yeah, I can't believe that. That was a wild race. I started in the back to stay out of trouble. I guess it worked. And I can't believe it. I guess we're going to go for a championship now.
Yeah, Jared, it's Sam up in the booth, and man, what a run for yourself here tonight. What was it that really, once you get up front, how hard was it to defend, or did you feel like it was pretty easy defending everyone behind you?
That first run where I got into lead, I guess it was just there was more good cars in the pack. Obviously after it was about 10 or 15 laps, I lost the lead. But there toward the end, there just wasn't enough good cars, I felt like. And so, maybe if they went green to the end, Thornquist might have had something for me. I think he had a little bit better tire. But, really just the lead car had such an advantage. And when I was back in the pack, it just didn't handle good, whether it was loose because you're behind a car or tight because you're behind a car. It just did not handle good. And so being up front I think the advantage was more so handling than anything else. But like I said, you could just block that run way in advance with this draft package we got in iRacing.
Yeah, well, obviously going on to race for a championship, you get to look forward to, I believe it's 7 now extra weeks here of racing, advancing through the next 2 rounds. How does this kind of shift your focus? Is that same idea to go out and just try and grab wins? You've been so close on so many occasions this season, but now it comes down to performing within 3 race stretches. How do you think you're going to get this done and find your way into the Final 4?
Yeah, I'm just going to have to be smart about it. I probably don't have very many playoff points. I'm sure I'm the last guy in points to make in. So all I got is the 5 points from tonight. So I'm just going to have to be smart about it, stay out of trouble. This whole season's really been hit or miss for me, whether I get a good result or wreck out. So, the first round of this playoffs is always the most difficult. We got a road course, a short track, and a super speedway. So if I could just stay smart and survive, there's a good chance I can advance. But, I'm just going to have to race like I did tonight and give it my all, be aggressive, and go for wins, because if I make it to the next round, those guys with the playoff points, it's going to be hard to point them out. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to have to race hard and go for wins going forward.
Absolutely. Any other questions there, Sam?
No, just congratulations on your win here tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Before we let you go, want to make any quick shout-outs here on the air?
Yeah, shout out to the team, Racing Point. I think we got our first all-team top 10 tonight, which is amazing. Yeah, Alec got the 5th, and Kendall Noah player got 9th. So that was a good race for the team. Shout out to my wife. She's working tonight, and she'll be I'll bring her some good news that I got the win, I guess.
There you go. All right. Well, congratulations, Jared Rexing, racing for a championship winner tonight here, coming in clutch. Congratulations. Enjoy this one, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right. That was our race winner. We'll now bring in our second place finisher here. And here he comes, Jacob Adams. We get to talk to you again here, man. Coming up just a little bit short of the race win, but still have to be proud of that result. And, of course, proud of the season you've put together so far. The points are in second place in the regular season championship. Definitely have to feel good about that in your first season in the Elite Cup Series.
Yeah, we didn't start out the season too hot. Weren't getting the finishes, and then we've been clicking off top 5s, top 10s recently, so pretty good momentum for the playoffs. Just wish I could have been one more spot better, but had too much damage to get to Jared there.
I mean, Jacob, we saw that you had great runs, but yeah, like you said, you had damage. How was it racing around the guys that were just beating and banging off one another there for most of that race?
Yeah, I was running up front, cutting it up with Fody and Fern, and then that was real fun. And then when you get Bowden in your mirror, you kind of expect to go around sometimes, and I did, and I was just playing catch up with the damage from there. But that's what championships are made of, rebounded from that stuff.
Absolutely, and you said that's what championships are made of. How do you plan to advance your way through the coming rounds of the chase here? We're in standard elimination format here, 3 races, then elimination, 3 races again, and then the final 4 fighting it out for the championship. What do you need to do here to make sure that you're in that final 4?
I need to survive Sonoma next week for sure. You guys won't see me on the broadcast. I'll be cutting it up for 25th or so back there, Sonoma. So just got to finish Richmond and survive Talladega, and then I think the next round is pretty good for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, great run here tonight in that 25 machine. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I got to thank Chad for the league, Response Energy. Just need to pass on thoughts and prayers to Chris Wright. He's having difficulty with his grandma right now, so we're thinking about him.
All right. Thanks so much there, Jacob Adams. Congratulations again. Second place in the race, second place in the regular season championship. A lot to look forward to in the coming weeks.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we'll bring in our third place finisher here. Coming in third here tonight, we currently don't quite know just yet. I don't know if you know, Gerald. Are you in the chase?
I don't think so.
No? Might have just been a point short. It might just be, I'm looking at it right now, it might just be a point short there to Brandon Key. So unfortunate there to see that happen. And I believe David Tooker ended up in the top 25 in points, as did Chuck Sweeting. Yeah.
Yeah, tough night. To come home third, you think you'd be, pretty safe, but that's not how these point situations work sometimes. So tough. I thought I did everything right, except for, I guess, lead 1 lap, which was what the deciding factor was. So I didn't think the 1 lap was going to be the key. I thought just trying to make sure I didn't put myself in a bad position. And then it came down to the end where me and Key were battling, and I didn't plan on going all the way up to the front. Our battle just between him and I wanted to, because we both probably figured that there was going to be a new winner with how this car setup was. So our battle between each other just kept pushing us up further and further in the field. And before you know it, our battle, it wasn't even for a battle for third. Me and him were battling with each other, just trying to get past everybody. And before we knew it, we were third and fourth. So that's kind of how that went. It was frustrating. Like I said, good battle with Key. Like I said, it was it's tough. I knew what I needed to do, and stay in front of him. But unfortunately, when he led that one lap, it became a factor where I needed to have someone else be in front of him, and I can't force someone else to be in front of him. I can be in front of him, which I accomplished, but he played off the big brain move and got a lap led and decided that he was going to be just okay right behind me. So that's unfortunate, but sometimes this happened last time. Won a championship, out of the championship. Won a championship, and I guess now I'm outside the championship again. So I'm still learning this car. Would I have won the championship? No one ever puts any money on me, so I always like to go into it with everyone thinking that someone else is the favorite. So I was kind of hoping that was going to be the play for the next coming races, but now I'm just going to go out there and race my own race.
Hey, Gerald, it's Sam up in the booth. Well, based off of the pattern that you just noted on, I think next season you have to have a lot of high hopes with winning and then not winning and winning again and not winning this season. Next season's got to be feeling hopeful for yourself. But here tonight, went with the strategy of further back. How was it trying to, you were battling with Key, but how was it trying to also being around all the other traffic throughout most of the race?
Yeah, it was weird. This whole setup was kind of weird. You get farther back in there, the looser it gets. The farther you go to the front, the tighter it gets. And it was just kind of one of those things. Like it was, learning the car as you went through the field. The closer we got to the front, the more my car started pushing on me. So I started out back there, and I main thing just avoid all the wrecks and be there at the end and figure out what I needed to do to get into the championship once melees have gone out of it. So I knew what I needed to do. And being back there was not fun, obviously. I would rather have been up there with Jared Rexing. I think I should have probably just went into the mentality that I needed to win the race, and you learn that. So I just need to win a race, really. If I just won a race, wouldn't have to worry about any of this crap. So I think I just need to learn how to win in this car, and then I'll be just fine.
I definitely can understand your disappointment here, man, but still a lot to look forward to. Still 7 more races to fight it out here this season. I want to give you a chance here to make some shout-outs, though, tonight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, got a lot to look forward to because now I don't have to worry about points or have to worry about anything like that. Now I can just go out there and just, they have to be worried around me. Today I was worried around them. It's going to be the opposite next time around. They're going to have to be careful around me because, like I said, I just want to win now. I just want to win badly. So I'm going to just go out there and try to win. But, thank you to Aggressive Eagle. All my teammates, they're always great teammates. We don't really, push each other to do certain things. We just want to have a good time with each other. And that's what we do on Aggressive Eagle. Thanks, Diecast Dude. Stinks I couldn't get Diecast Dude into the chase, but regardless, hopefully maybe I can get a couple checker flags before here and now. And thank you guys. I'm going to be broadcasting on Sundays with the truck series, so maybe I'll learn a thing or two, and like I said, bring it over to Winning Ways on Wednesdays. So other than that, thank you guys.
All right, man. Tough night there, but we'll come back stronger there. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, there definitely a disappointed Gerald Campbell there, and on the other side, not too traditional here, but it is the final race of the season. We've got a couple of other guys to talk to here. We'll start with Brandon Key here, who's been hanging on to that chase spot there all season long here. Hangs on by 1 point there to make it in. Brandon, obviously talk us through what you're feeling there. Coming home fourth, and in such a close battle there with Gerald, obviously it turns out that lap-led point, that one lap that you stayed out on the racetrack for, seemed to pay off in the end.
Yeah, man, this feels great. I feel like the last 4 weeks have kind of been playoff races for me, and I kind of treated tonight sort of like Daytona. I didn't want to be up front pack racing and get taken out early and ruin my chances, but I definitely thought it was going to come down to a point or two, so that's why I stayed out that one time, just so I could gain that advantage. But me and Gerald had a heck of a battle coming to the checkered, man, and it was props to him. And I hate he missed it, but I'm very thankful I'm in.
Yeah, Brandon, I mean, great job for yourself here tonight. Kind of similar question that I asked Gerald earlier. How was it cutting your way through traffic? It just seems like with this aero package, with the next gen car, you kind of have to just wait and see whatever lane you're in and where it moves.
All night, it's kind of tough because the top line would come in after about 10 laps, and then, you know, and then people would go back to the bottom, and you get checked up. So you couldn't run through people. You just have to wait your turn to hopefully your line would move. And finally, I just followed Gerald all the way through the field in the last restart, and I knew I couldn't let him get away from me. So driving the wheels off that thing.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to seeing how you do in chase racing. Obviously, now going and fighting for a championship. Any change in mentality now as we go into this different format of racing to survive and get to the Final Four. What do you think you need to do here? Differently from the regular season, or do you stick to your mentality that got you to this point?
Mentality all season was just to try to keep the car clean and get good, consistent finishes. The last 4 races that fell apart, but that's what I'm going to continue to do. These guys are very talented in this league, so I'm going to need some luck on my side, that's for sure. I don't have the talent as a lot of these guys, but I'm going to give it hell.
All right, man. Well, still, congratulations on making it in here. And before we let you go, I want to give you a chance to make just a couple of shout-outs here on the air.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Chad for running a great league. You guys, of course, with the great broadcast. Belly Up Racing, Mike Brown, Johnny Thomas, Kyle Hanshaw, Joshua Adams, all my teammates. And, yeah, that's it, guys. Going playoff racing.
All right, man. Congratulations again. P4 finish tonight, but most importantly, getting into the chase there by 1 point. So congratulations, Brendan Key.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, you too. And then finally, we're doing a lot of interviews tonight here, but it's an important race, isn't it here, Sam? But one last guy to talk to, and that's going to be our regular season champion, Tate Lytle, man. What a job well done there. Was between you and teammate Matthew Weeks. He ended up with a bit of an issue there towards the end of the race, so kind of guaranteed you that championship. But what a season you put together, and now you get ready to go chase racing. Talk us through. Obviously, looking back on the past, 11 races, past 10 or 11 races, and of course now looking on to the next 7.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the schedule, and it's going to be an interesting one. We got Sonoma, Richmond, Dega in the first round, which is kind of 3 wild cards, and then you got Dover, Auto Club, and Charlotte. And the problem with these cars is I feel like every race is kind of a wild card with these cars, so it's hard to really say. I was glad. My one goal tonight, other than to win the regular season championship, was to get 0x, 0 incident points during this race, because if I did that, I get an extra 5 bonus points going into the chase. And those extra 5 playoff points, those are going to be pretty huge. So I was kind of racing there. I was hoping I had a little damage on the rear end, and I just figured I wasn't going to be able to win it, so I pitted, and then on that next restart, I just kind of pulled low on the backstretch and let them go at it, because I didn't want to ruin that 5 extra chase points, because that's worth another win. So more pumped to get that tonight, but obviously pumped to get the regular season championship. There's some good tracks for us in the chase, but like I said, I mean, last week was a good track, and ended up getting wrecked, and Indy, I had damage, thought I was going to finish 10th, ended up winning. So you really don't know what you're going to get in these cars. If it was a different car, I'd feel a lot different about the chase. But we'll see how it goes. I feel like I've adapted well to them, but there's just so much out of your control that you can't be too overly confident in them.
Yeah, Tate, it's Sam up in the booth. Giant congratulations on the regular season title. But, you kind of noted on these next 3 races kind of feeling like wild cards, Sonoma, Richmond, and Talladega. Do you feel like, though, because the aero factor in the package isn't going to be as much of a factor for Sonoma and Richmond? Do you feel like those two racetracks could be more about driver skill more than anything else?
Sonoma, probably. I mean, it'll probably look a lot like Circuit of the Americas did. Same 2 or 3 guys that battling for the win, and then there'll be 3 or 4 of us battling for 4th through 8th, and then the rest of them. And I mean, next week, out of the guys in the chase, I'll be looking at Fody, Tucker, and Van de Sant to try and lock themselves into the next round. I don't know if I like road courses. I'm not real good at them, but I can kind of count on them being like a decent points night most of the time. Top 10 normally at least. Got lucky at Coda earlier in the year, and I think I ended up 3rd, but that's kind of an anomaly a little bit there for me. But if I can go out there and get 6th next week, decent points night, I'll feel a little bit better. And then, I mean, we're all super close, probably point-wise in the chase. I might have a little bit of a buffer, and maybe Nick Massey a little bit of a buffer, but it's not like any of us have 5 wins. Most of us have 1 win, and that's it. Maybe a stage win here or there, but it's not like many of us have a whole lot of chase points going into this, so it's going to be pretty hectic. And I think these first 3 races are going to be really important to see who can get a few more points going into that second round. And hopefully we'll have a chance at Homestead, which I think will be an okay track for these cars, maybe a little bit more forgiving than a Kansas, but you really never know until you get there. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we can stay clean the rest of these races and don't have anything too petty happen to us, and give them a run at Homestead.
All right, Tate. Well, congratulations again on grabbing that regular season championship, and wishing you the best of luck here over the course of the next 7 weeks.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for taking the time to talk to me. I know it's been a long night with all those yellows, so props to you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good night there, Tate. And there we go. That's it. That's another regular season wrapped up here. Sam, thanks so much once again for joining us up here. As I'm just realizing it says the IndyCar series on our on timing and scoring there. We'll just ignore that. But I mean, yeah, what a race here tonight. What an interesting result, and of course the drama associated with the chase bubble all being sorted out and figuring out who actually ended up making. So David Tucker did, in fact, make the chase. Brandon Key was that other bubble driver to make it in, as well as Jared Rexing there. So the rest of those guys, unfortunately, walk home and will not be fighting for a championship. Give us your final thoughts, though, from tonight's race at Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas, mainly the whole entire regular season has shown with us this next-gen car. It gives the option to everyone in the field that you have a shot to win, especially with 1.5 or larger tracks. It's all about how well are you at super speedway racing and tire conserving, and you can find yourself with a victory. But here tonight, pressure was on, and Jared Rexing, he certainly clutched up again.
Yes, he did. Excuse me there. Jared Rexing, your winner then tonight at the RCA Commercial Electronics 200 from Kansas Speedway. The regular season is over, and now we're getting ready to go chase racing. The drivers will relax for this week and then get ready to go, get going at Sonoma Raceway, heading over to virtual Northern California. That's all from tonight. I've been Rishav Khosla, joined in the booth by Sam Dyer. It's been incredible bringing you guys the action during this regular season. We can't wait to get the chase underway. With that being said, thank you all once again so much for watching tonight, and we'll see you all next time.